Song arrangement is one of the most overlooked organizational tips when creating music. Let's see why this will help your workflow and make you a better organized music producer. Okay everyone, so today we're going to show you 4 tips. Yeah, 4 tips on song arrangement. And I often when I first learned about this myself, I asked myself the question, what was the purpose of putting these pieces on the song? But I learned a lot, because what it is song arrangement is for more so, how should I say it, keeping your song intact when you're transferring from one DAW to another. And you'll see what I mean by that. So the very first thing, first I'm gonna play the track. You'll hear the track, and I want you'll see something at the top screen where it says intro, verse, 2, bridge. We will get into that because that's part of the 4 tips we're going to talk about. So let's listen to a little bit. Okay, so you heard it, so you probably know what that is. That's What a Wonderful World. But it's a remix that I did on my own. I wanted to do this song because I love it, 1, and then 2, I wanted to make it for a commercial. And the vocals that you hear in the background are actually Apple Loops vocals. So I didn't have anybody sing that part. That's basically straight up 100% Apple Loops, and I'll show you how that works. If you go to Apple Loops, there's Andre's background vocals. So this is what I used in this song. But let's talk about the 4 tips. Now, very first tip is, after the song is completed, you have your verse, you have your intro, your bridges and everything. You need to mark them. So let's go and the way you do that is through arrangement and or markers. So if you go to this drop down box that show a high global tracks will then bring up these 1, 2, 3, 4 special tabs. Now, these special tabs is basically where you set your arrangements. Now, when you look at your arrangement, it's you can just click on the press, create an arrangement marker. Bow, bow, bow. It's put it in your intro, your verse, your chorus, your bridge for you. But what's so cool? There's a couple things that's so cool about that, which is, this is the first tip in arrangement. You can actually change how your song is arranged, and basically you click on the box and just drag it where you want it. Oh, sorry, let me redo that. Command Z. I didn't want to do that. That's not what I want to do. This is what I want to do. There you go. So you click on it, you see these you look in the word, you see these arrows. Click on the word, there's your intro, verse, chorus, bridge, outros. So you can actually change how you want the song to start. If you want it to be chorus, if you want it to be verse here, or if you want it to be verse, and then the chorus. But in order to get that, you make sure your mouse is hovered over the word and nowhere else. Anywhere else it won't show up. It has to be hovered over the word. That's tip 1. Tip 2 is markers. Now we're gonna close these, because I don't necessarily use arrangements unless I have to sometimes. But let me go ahead and get out of this. And if you're wondering what I just did, I was Command Z to undo. It's a shortcut. Also, markers. Now we set up our markers. There's 2 ways to set up your markers, and the first way is just like the same way as just adding with the plus sign. But if you notice, if you add with the plus sign, it adds a marker behind the marker that was highlighted. So, but we don't want to do that, because it's like it's throwing in markers for our song. We don't really need it. Markers are really when you're actually creating the beat, and you want to mark where a certain I should say a certain break is in the song. So this is when the markers, you don't have to put the verse in verse 2. This is where you can actually put what you want. So you can put in here, like say for instance, when you double click it, you put in say start of new break. It's a marker, and that's just for your personal preference or your reference, because you can go in and delete it. So we're going to go ahead and delete that, and I'm going to tell you why. Because when we go in and delete this, if you look in the notepad, which is here, actually I'm sorry, if you go to the list editor, if you go to markers here, and here you'll see I have on here the markers that I created from over here. But if you notice, the marker I deleted, marker 3, is not here, but it is still here on the markers. So you want to delete that. Let's go ahead and delete that. Now it's saying that the marker is where it's supposed to be at with verse 2. And this is where you can set it up also. So say for instance the position of the song verse is different. Instead of dragging it, because it shortens or whatever, instead of dragging it, you can actually position it from over here. So if you see, if it's 9, 10, 11, it starts on the 11 bar. So if you look at the 11th bar, we can actually change it right here. Let's change to 12, see what happens. Bow, and moved it. So this is where you can actually change it. This is just depends on your workflow, how fast it speeds your workflow. You can actually add the marker, or you can place the markers here based off of your positioning on your bars. Step, or I should say tip number 3 is track names. This is so important. If you look at on the side, list of all my tracks, I have a name to each track. The reason why this is important, because when you actually download these files as WAV files into stem tracks, or whatever you want to call them, multi-tracks. People call them multi-tracks, people call them stem tracks, whatever. Whenever you download those, it'll have those names attached to those WAV files. So when you go to transfer that file into another DAW, like say for instance Pro Tools or Cubase, you will actually have not just the WAV files pop up, but the names of the individual tracks will pop up, so you won't get lost with what's what. So that's important too. So you can actually change the name, and when you change the name, which when you just double click on it, you can change the name, which is a cool thing, because once you've changed the name, you can actually go in here and right click on the picture and change it to the picture that you want it to be. This is an upright studio bass. I changed my picture to an upright studio bass right here in the picture. So it's a cool feature. It's not a big feature, but it's a cool feature because it helps you organize your songs and it helps you keep your song arrangements on point. And last but not least is notes in your project. So if you go back to the notepad, and here under project, this is where I have notes. It has the notes are for me, and if I was getting this track work done from someone else, the notes are for them basically. So if they have Logic and they upload this project, I send them the project, they will see these notes, so they will know. I can actually add notes in here to say, what do I want in this song, can you add it? And I'll put the notes in here, boom boom boom. I add the notes in. Let me say, looking for another vocal to help with the bridge. Boom, done. Save it, done. So when I transfer this song over the project to someone else, they can look at the notes, read the notes, and once they read the notes, they say, oh, the song is in the key of C, has a swing, quantized. Oh, they're looking for another vocal to help with the bridge. They don't have one, so let me help with that. So it could be a person that wants to record the vocals, or it's a person who can actually put the vocals in there themselves. So that's tip number 4. So I hope these tips will help you with your song arrangement and helping you get put out better songs, and actually help you stay organized with your music from your home studio to your big studio to whoever you work with. God bless, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Down below, also check out the descriptions. You will find that there's links to websites of sounds that I use on a regular basis, from samples to sounds and free plugins, and it's so much out there that you can check out. But don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell also, and then you will love what you can create for the future. All right, peace out. Have a good one.